Devlin, Untamed. Platform.
iOS, it's only sport. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Waugh. We do a live show on the platform 1 till 4 every afternoon. The only truly independent daily radio sports program in this country. We packaged it all up in highlights form for you every night on this podcast. If you can't stay with us in the afternoon, understand that you're very busy. It's about 45, 50 minutes worth. And we try and just put a whole lot of today's sports news in, snippets of interviews, some views, some thoughts, some opinions, some ranting, all of that on the program today. Greg Martin, as always, on the way to the League Legends lunch. Is Reds going to win this weekend? We'll talk about the Magic Round. Apparently it pumps tens of millions of dollars into Queensland, and ask him the most essential question in New Zealand sport at the moment. Not who's going to be the All Black captain, but should the All Black captain have a social media profile? Oh my God, really? Are we debating this? How relevant is it? Should he drive an EV? Should he drink oat milk instead of normal? I mean, for God's sake, does it matter? The only thing that matters is that the All Blacks win, isn't it? Or isn't it? Or have I got that wrong now? Heavyweight boxing, the big build-up to Sunday morning NZT in Saudi Arabia. Usyk versus Fury. These are the two best heavyweights in the world. I think that bit of it is undisputed. The winner gets to claim the undisputed title for the first time in 25 years. Tim Payne, ahead of the Phoenix hopeful victory against the Victory on Saturday night, a sellout in Wellington. He's a good Sacred Heart boy from Auckland is Tim. Is this the biggest game that he has ever played? How are they feeling, the Phoenix, in the build-up to this? Because I think the expectation is the home side wins this one, goes to the grand final for the very first time. And Simon Doull was at the Tottenham-Man City game yesterday in London. Pretty much decided the title. That son miss right at the end of the game. It is meant to be one of the best stadiums anywhere in the world. It's certainly one of the most modern. Dooley all over that for us. We begin the show the same way every day. I say tablets in hand, I say gather my flock. It is time for a sermon. Let us choose our next All Black captain and go to the mountaintop.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
Who is going to be the next All Black captain? It's only the most important job in the whole of New Zealand sport. It is the most recognised job in New Zealand sport. It's our number one national team, and this guy is up front and centre, the face of the All Blacks. Will it be Ardie or will it be Scott Barrett? Who do you think it will be versus who will it be? Who do you want it to be versus who do you think it will actually be? First question is it just a straight-out race between those two, or are there any other names also worth considering? Cody Taylor, perhaps. Surely it has to be one of those three, though. For a start, it will be a forward. I think we know that. And that's because there are no members of the backline who jump out. So it's got to be one of the front eight. Name me one member of the backline who you think, oh yeah, that's the All Black captain. I'll keep talking. You can text us 5050. That also means someone who's been in the team a while, someone who's an essential first choice pick for Scott Robertson, which means either Ardie, Scott Barrett, or maybe Cody. Now, the problem he has with both Cody and Ardie is that they've been absent from Super Rugby, or pretty much most of the season for Cody Taylor. Ardie, of course, has been on a sabbatical in Japan. Scott Barrett, though, meanwhile, has, in between injuries, been here and been playing. Plus, he was Crusaders captain at various times under Razor, so the All Black coach knows him. He's very familiar with him. He's bestowed previous captaincies upon him, so he obviously trusts him. All three of these guys are absolute locks, dead set selections. So, what else comes into consideration? Popularity with the public, does that matter? Well, I guess so, because alongside the on-pitch performance, being the All Black captain means a significant increase of and expectation on off-field appearances. You've got to front a lot of press conferences. As I said, you are the face. It's part of the job. And the captain does get an extra large salary stipend in addition to their normal salary for the added responsibilities that the All Black captaincy brings. As I said earlier, it's also the face of the team. It's the poster boy for not only the All Blacks, but all of New Zealand rugby. Ardie is extremely popular with the fans. He does the whole social media thing, much more so than Scott Barrett. In terms of all of that, and I suppose you can consider it access, but I don't really consider it access. It's just, does the guy get on social media and But it is something now that has to be brought into consideration as well, because if it is Scott Barrett, he's going to have to probably have some kind of presence in either TikTok or Instagram, or somebody's going to have to do that for him. Look, I think that either of these guys would be a really good choice for All Black captain. Both of them, as I said, are going to be dead set selection certainties. We know that. And both are hardened, proven Test match All Blacks. Both have been there before. Both have had their ups and downs, obviously on the field, perhaps a little bit off the field as well. But, it's got to be somebody that the opposition are also going to look at and have respect for as well. So I think it comes down to those. Now, look, I got no official word, so this is nothing but a feeling, nothing but an opinion. But this is what I do predict. The next All Black captain, and I feel this without a doubt, 100%, is going to be Scott Barrett.
Devlin.
What do you want? We want information. Information. You won't get it.
The platform.
Maybe it's waste no time because Marto's on his way to get absolutely shellacked.
That's responsible, isn't it? Get shellacked. I've just found out the Tyson Fury-Oleksandr Usyk fight is on DAZN. So DAZN's the website in New Zealand that owns NFL Game Pass. And it's also pretty much been the hub for a lot of boxing fights and
So he buys that additional
docos.
off them.
Yeah, so you'll probably be like me where you've got a DAZN account, but you don't have access to their features, so you'll have to buy the fight.
Okay.
So regardless,
Well, you're buying the fight regardless, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just...
Unless you've got a visible panty line and one of your kids can come around and insert that in the computer and you can dodge and buy it, get it out of Norway via China, via
What?
Nigeria.
You've got a visible what?
Whatever the VP thing is you keep harping on about, mate. I don't...
VPN. I don't have a VPN. I don't know. It's beyond my intelligence. I don't do that stuff. I'm not a tech head. Actually, funnily enough, in my family, the tech head is Dad. Dad's the one who's great with his technology.
Really?
Yeah. The kids don't know what they're doing.
Women have it so much easier in life, don't you? All you got to do is scream, "It's you do it. Steve, fix it. Get my TV working."
Well, should I say this? Yeah, Mum and Dad won't be listening. I can say this. So Dad obviously moved over to Washington, D.C. He lives there now. Mum still lives here in New Zealand. Right. They're still happily married. But Dad had to type up, and good on him for doing this, seriously, a many pages in this document.
Comprehensive document.
Very comprehensive ring binder type thing, instructing Mum on how to do everything in the house.
Yep.
How to turn the TV on, turn it off, the sound system, the Wi-Fi, if it screws up, do this, the gas heating for the hot water and whatnot. You got to do this. The tanks are outside. You got to turn this. You got to turn that.
Of course, mate.
If something, if the blinds that are operated by a remote to come up and down, you've got to do this to charge them back up. If they run out of battery, the dog needs this, and that, and whatnot. It's incredible. It's honestly incredible. Everything is...
The Bible, it's called, isn't it?
The Bible. And everything is done by Dad at home. Mum does a lot of things, but she's now in a situation where it's like the best player from the team has gone off, and now the young kids need to step up and actually start playing hard and guiding the team to victory. Mum's the young kids on the football team. Mum will like that. I called her young. Anyway, Wellington Phoenix, their best ever season has been recognised across the A-League, the men's A-League, with the semi-finalists dominating the team of the season. 5 players named, including goalkeeper Alex Poulsen, defender Scott Wootton and Tim Payne. Tim Payne going to join us on the show.
Yep, looking forward to it.
And midfielder Alex Rufer were named to the best 11. Forward Costa Barbarouses earned a spot among the substitutes. And, in my opinion, most notably and impressively, Giancarlo Italiano named coach of the season.
Go on, Chiefy.
He's got great taste. He was wearing a really nice outfit on the sidelines actually in the Victory game the other day. I saw highlights of the game again last night and said, oh, geez, it's a nice shirt. Well done, Chiefy. You're doing well. It's that Italian jeans. Ha! The Italian jeans on the... Maybe good outfit. Get it? Premier League, Manchester United this morning played Newcastle, and if you saw that fixture, you would think it'd be a 4-3 defeat for Man United, considering Newcastle actually have scored 81 goals this year, by the way. For a team who's going to finish 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe even 6th. They've scored 81 goals. Oh, no, they haven't. They've scored 75. No, 81 goals. Incredible, 81 goals. Anyway, Man United getting the victory this morning, 3-2 over Newcastle at Old Trafford. Gives Man United a bit more of a chance to potentially get European football for next season, but they need Newcastle to drop points on the final day, and they need to win. Or they could draw and Newcastle could lose. They just need to get ahead of them. They're both tied on points, but if United can get up to 7th, they get the Conference League. As well as that, Chelsea beat Brighton 2-1 this morning. So Chelsea are up to 6th on the table. Geez, tell you what, we were really giving it to Chelsea for the first half of the season, but they've really come up strong the second half. In their last 13 league games, they've only lost one. They've drawn 5 and only won 7, but they've only lost 1. Pretty impressive from Chelsea. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag says that the club absolutely is the word that he used, absolutely want to keep skipper Bruno Fernandes after the Portuguese midfielder stated his desire to remain at Old Trafford. So that's good news for both Bruno and United. The Premier League, meanwhile, off the field stuff, sort of off the field, have been forced into a vote over whether to scrap the VAR when a proposal by Wolverhampton Wanderers to get rid of the system obliged the league to place it on the agenda for the shareholders meeting in June. So essentially Wolves have made a formal suggestion they get rid of it. It means now that all 20 clubs have to vote whether they actually keep it or get rid of it. So this could be quite a big move. Quite a big move indeed for the Premier League. The Hurricanes are keeping their forward pack intact for the future, re-signing 4 players. Those 4 players are being Brad Shields, Brandon Yossé, Devlin Flanders and Pasilio Tossi. Really good moves from the Hurricanes to keep them around. Other than that, it's actually a bit of a quiet day. Black Ferns are talking about wanting to instill fear back into the Fern in the Pacific Force series. I tell you what, you're not going to do that in this series. You'll do it against France and England.
Yeah, those two, yeah.
And the goal of doing so was great, but you're not going to do it.
Look, no disrespect to the teams that I'm about to quote, but this is like the All Blacks playing a series against Italy, Romania, and
Fiji, maybe?
And maybe Fiji,
yeah.
Okay? So they're going to win by 30 or 40 or 50 points in each of these games. It's hard to get excited about.
Celtic in the Scottish Premiership have sealed their 12th title in 13 seasons. They needed just a point to get over the line, but dismantled Kilmarnock? Kilmarnock. Is that a club?
Yeah.
Never heard of them. Won't lie. Beat Kilmarnock 5-0 to clinch a third straight top-flight crown in style, and as I say, 12 in the last 13 seasons. Pretty impressive. Their manager, Brendan Rodgers, ex-Leicester and Liverpool boss. He was at Celtic and then got that Leicester job and then went back to Celtic. And just finally, I want to talk about this just quickly. The All Blacks captaincy, who will be the next captain. There's a poll on Stuff, and I'm going to vote on it now for Scott Barrett. What does the public think? Most people, wow. What do you think? Oh, it's just gone. It's gone. Oh, what? Okay, it showed me the percentage of what people wanted and how they voted, but it literally just disappeared. But anyway, the player that people wanted most was Ardie Savia. 56% of voters want him as the next captain. Next was Scott Barrett at 31%. Interesting.
Devlin,
Yeah, the next rule.
the platform.
Greg Martin every Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, the former Wallaby fullback, co-hosts the award-winning and highest rating breakfast music radio show in Brisbane on Triple M. Today, Marto, talking about the Reds, talking about the Magic Round, answering the question for us whether or not the All Black captain should be on social media, and on his way to a League Legends fundraising lunch, which just sounds like a hell of a lot of fun, mate. Here's a question for you. Is it important that the new All Black captain has a social media profile?
No, of course it's not. Isn't that the job for the team? If he wants to have one, he can. But no, why?
Well, I mean, this has been discussed. This is what New Zealand rugby is about these days, mate. It's about Instagram likes and it's about TikTok dances. I mean, for God's sake, what is the All Black captain's job, Greg? It's to hit ruck, smash people in tackles, stomp them into the ground, win test matches for our country, isn't it?
How many instant friends does Ardie Savia have anyway?
Oh, he's got heaps, but he's got hundreds of them, mate. That's, yeah.
He's captain. He'll be captain then. Beauty.
No, it's going to be Scott Barrett, we think. And, you know, I actually wish the All Black captain didn't have a profile on social. So what if he does or doesn't? This is why we don't win World Cups, mate.
The robot?
You know, an old school guy that actually just prepares himself well to captain his country. How about that?
I can't believe you guys. I thought we were petty and stupid in the media over here. Is that the focus at the moment?
Yeah, it's one of them, mate. Let's talk about your Reds. You're at the Drua. Can you beat them at their place?
I'm nervous, mate. We don't have a very good record against them, and we've rested a few key players. Don't take the Drua easily. We're trying to overcome the Chiefs and get into fourth spot. I'm nervous, but I'm really nervous because we're such an up and down team. The Reds. We need to learn how to win every bloody week.
How about your Broncos in Magic Round?
Oh, what about them Broncos? Oh, mate, against Manly, who knows? Without Tommy Trbojevic, are they the same team that the Manly Sea Eagles? The Broncos, they tell me they're looking good. I was with Kevy Walters yesterday. He reckons of course they're going to say they're going to win. So I'll say yes. But the biggest thing is, it's not so much about the Broncos this weekend. I think they're pouring. This is the largest tourism event, and Queensland's the tourism capital of Australia. This is the largest tourism weekend in Australia after only, how long has it been going? 3 years. They reckon they'll pump $50 million into the economy.
Wow.
So don't worry about anything else. When you get blokes coming to town, eating, drinking, farting, staying in hotels and catching cabs, the money's flowing around, and they're already in town. They got here 2 days earlier, all the drunks, all the adults. It's amazing. I'm even going to go down. I haven't got any tickets, but I'm going to go and just lurk in Caxton Street and just laugh my head off on Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sell out.
Sell out, yeah, exactly. It's extraordinary. Or do I need to explain? We're a little bit mad about
explain. Yep.
We're a little bit mad. It's the hype, and this is starting it today. This lunch sort of kicks the whole Magic weekend off, and then the Origin tonight. There's 25,000 people, they reckon, going to the Women's Origin tonight. Like, imagine that 5 years ago. It's extraordinary. I don't know what's happened to us. We're all mad.
Okay. Fifita, David Fifita. Would you get married to this guy, or would you suspect that he'd leave you sitting at the altar waiting?
It's like a pair of teenagers. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it, that on Tuesday night, of course, his management rang the Roos and said, we're having second thoughts, so they immediately withdrew the offer. And then in the last, since then, it's been, we said you were dropped. It's like a pair of teenagers dropping each other. I said it first. I said you were dropped. I dropped you. It's unbelievable the way it's playing itself out. And then there was a story, I don't know if you saw it, the CEO of the Titans says the reason he stayed was for family, because the CEO says before each Titans game, I go in with a packet of Monte Carlo biscuits and I give his grandmother and mother a cup of tea and Monte Carlo biscuits, and that's what made him stay at the Titans. Have you ever heard anything like that before? Biscuit diplomacy.
You got to wonder. I mean, so these are adults that are actually signing deals, they're actually saying to somebody else, yes, they look them in the eye, they give their word, all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean a jack, does it, as far as his NRL contracts are concerned?
It doesn't seem to be, but he still hasn't spoken to the Roosters. So the problem, and with some of these quiet Polynesian lads, they leave it all up to their managers. And what are managers? They're mongrels just looking for their 7%. So I think he'll get a wicked name out of this, and he already has, and it's probably not his doing. Who knows whether he ever agreed to the Roosters? There's so much murky waters. Or did Gordon Tallis, his ambassador for the Titans, did he threaten him? Who knows? It's just dodgy as.
All right, how does this lunch end up, mate? At what time does it end up? What day does it end?
Alan Langer, who's the final act today, I don't know whether you guys follow his social career, but he's gotten away with more things than any other athlete in Australia, and he's promised he'll be there still swinging at the end, and his favourite drink's vodka and Red Bull. What do you reckon?
Sunday.
Cheers, mate.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. Two big blokes just punching the bejesus out of each other. That is heavyweight boxing. For all of us of the age and stage, like the generation that I am, growing up watching the Rumble in the Jungle, the Thriller in Manila, Muhammad Ali towards the end of his career. Then you got Larry Holmes, you got Big Daddy Bo, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, all of these legendary names, heavyweight boxing. And then it went to a real fug for a while. But Tyson Fury kind of resurrected it. Vladimir Klitschko, when he beat him, Klitschko was the champ for about 9 years. And then you had Anthony Joshua along the way and so forth. And now Usyk. And this bout between these two is going to unite all of the belts and that division for the first time in about 25 years. Darren Rees joined us. He's a BBC correspondent, building up to the big fight. This is a heavyweight fight that's been worth waiting for.
Oh, absolutely. So we've not had anything as big as this since the year 1999 when Lennox Lewis had his rematch of Evander Holyfield. And that was the last time.
Good on you, yeah. Good call.
All of the heavyweight belts were fought for. The recognised belts anyway. Boxing's quite political. So yeah, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world has finally come round again. Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. And it's been postponed a couple of times, but May 18th is nearly here, and yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I suppose a part of the fascination is that we haven't seen either of these guys in action for so long, it feels. Tyson Fury retired, he's come back. So talk us through that bit first before we actually get into the disparities of actually the weight, the height, the reach and everything else.
I think that the main person to focus on in this is Tyson Fury. So his last bout was around 7 months ago, which isn't abnormal for a heavyweight. But the circumstances were quite abnormal, and that's the fact that Tyson Fury boxed Francis Ngannou, the MMA fighter, and it was Francis Ngannou's debut fight as a boxer. And there are a lot of people, including me, who think that Francis Ngannou won that fight against Tyson Fury. But Tyson got his hand raised and was victorious at the end of the bout, and there was a lot of controversy that surrounded it. But I think the bottom line is Tyson Fury did not take Francis Ngannou seriously one bit. He came in at a career heaviest of like 277 pounds. He was completely out of shape. He wasn't up for the fight at all. And because of that, we saw a really poor performance from him. Hopefully, like many sports people or sports teams, when they've got the best in front of them, you get the best out of them. So that might be a thing of the past, that Francis Ngannou fight. And let's hope that he's a completely different man and the best he's ever been on Saturday when he fights Oleksandr Usyk.
Fury, you look at, I've got, a lot of comments here which have come through on the social media to me. He's too big, he's too smart, he's too classy. You got that height and reach. And in heavyweight boxing, you always look at that, good big man beats a good small man. Look, he's not a small man, Usyk, but, how does he overcome those especially? Just that gangliness of Fury and his just uncanny ability to continually hit you.
So I've had the pleasure and I've had the luxury of being 6 foot away from the ring when Oleksandr Usyk has been boxing. And let me tell you, he's one of the most special people I've ever seen live in a boxing ring. What he does is just magical. I've never seen anybody move their feet, their body, their head so often, so fluently and so perfectly like Oleksandr Usyk does. But he doesn't just do that. He changes the pattern of his punches. He changes the angle of his punches. He changes the flow. He changes everything. So he's so difficult to read. And what he does is he exhausts his opponents. He completely and utterly exhausts them because they have to be so switched on. They have to watch every single move that he is making. And they have to switch off at one point because you can't not unless you're a robot. And then when you do, boom, he detonates an almighty straight back left hand or straight or uppercut or a hook like he did against England's Tony Bellew. Everyone thought Tony Bellew was doing fantastically, and he was. But Oleksandr Usyk knew exactly what the game plan was, and he was wearing his man down, and then he detonated a shot, and down went Bellew. And we could see exactly the same thing with Tyson Fury on Saturday.
Is it, in your mind, and this is what we love about heavyweight boxing, and it's so good to talk to you, Darren, about heavyweight boxing. I'm old enough to, my old man got me and my brother out of school to watch the Rumble in the Jungle in 1974. So, I've lived through that, just the glory, the holy era of heavyweight boxing. It feels great to be talking about it again for a start. Can we just digress to that? Because, the sweet science and everything else, it used to be the fastest man on the planet and the baddest man on the planet, the heavyweight champ.
Yeah, I think there's just something special about heavyweight boxing, and what I would do to go in a time machine and go back to the likes of the Rumble in the Jungle and the Thriller and the Manila and the Fight of the Century and all those type of bouts which I've watched and read about for such a long time. And heavyweight boxing is just so special. I was at a really small venue in London called York Hall just on a weekend doing some commentary, and soon as the heavyweights come out, everyone pays attention. Yeah. They immediately pay attention because guess what? You might get a knockout. You're pretty likely to get a knockout when it's heavyweight boxing. And as harmful as it is and as dangerous as it is, people, they just love it.
Yeah,
they just love to see it. And sports people, I always say, right, with boxing is I split it into 3 categories when it comes to fights. Number 1 is boxing people. People like myself, people who will follow the sport and watch whatever fights there are. And then there's sports fans, whether you're cricket, rugby, whatever it is. Then, there's a level of fight which will capture your imagination then. And then there's just the general public. And this type of fight because it's the heavyweights and because what's on the line, this captures everyone, including the general public. And that's what makes it special.
So, 2 questions to finish with. One is, how long is this fight going to go? Can you see one man on the deck and it ends before 12 rounds? First question.
So, my opinion is that this will either be absolutely fantastic. This will be just chaos from the first bell, and it will be an amazing fight. Or it'll go, it'll be over before the final bell goes. Or it will be absolutely dreadful, and they will cling to each other, and the referee will take points away, and the crowd will boo, and there'll be loads of moaning on social media, and there'll be all those kind of things. I don't think there's an in-between with this. It's either it's going to be chaos, and it's going to be one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time, or it's going to be absolutely terrible. So I think it depends which route it goes down with that. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Who we got, Darren?
So logically, I have to go with Tyson Fury. He's the bigger man. He's the stronger man. He's got the higher reach, the furthest reach. He's also boxed more professional rounds than Oleksandr Usyk as a heavyweight, and he's fought more professional fights than Oleksandr Usyk. And I just think all of those adding together, those attributes that he's got, will have him raised as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world on Saturday, the 18th of May.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full.
The Tight Five.
Is it going to be victory over the victory, Lachlan? Usyk versus Fury. Usyk versus Fury. Who you got? Denver Nuggets yesterday. My Nugs. Anyone that doubted my Nuggets, get off that 2-time TW train with all your young Instagram TikTokers. I went back to my man Jokic yesterday. 40 points, 13 reps, 0 turnovers, 40 points, 15-22 shooting. The guy is just a beast. Is it important that the All Black captain has to have a social media presence, Lachlan? Let's revisit your boy, David Fifita, who, as I said to Marto, you wouldn't marry this guy, would you? Because you'd still be standing at the altar in a year's time going, where's my husband? Co-captains for the All Blacks? Oh, please. We've had a couple of text messages in about this, and one of them says that Mark Robinson mentioned that he'd quite like coke. Oh, please. Okay, I'm not, unless I see some positive proof of that, I'm not going to believe it. You didn't say that, Mark Robinson, did you? Please, for God's sake, mate. Are we just that insipid these days as a society, as people, that we need 2 people holding hands? It's a sports team. People who suggest this, I just don't understand where your head is at. Have you never been in a dressing room in a sports team? The leader picks themselves. Boys, girls, men, women. That's very binary of me, but the leader picks themselves. The captain picks the captain. All the players in the team know who the captain is. You can have 9 co-captains, but everyone knows who the captain is. And Fergus Burke back for the Crusaders if we get time. You know, this should have been a story that a lot of us looked at with much anticipation and excitement, but I just don't care anymore. And I don't care anymore because you're leaving, mate. Let's talk about the Phoenix to start with. How are you feeling about this, Lock? Is it victory over the victory or not?
Oh, I hope so. So the Phoenix played them twice during the regular season, right? Drew both. Home and
3
away?
times.
3 times. Drew all 3.
Won the last one, if you remember.
Oh, that's right. It was a really strange late.
Well, was it?
Oh,
it was
the Finn Sermon goal. That's right, Finn Sermon's goal.
There you go. Okay,
So,
I think it's an own goal, but it's a Finn Sermon goal. We all call it the Finn Sermon goal.
It kind of was an own goal, yes. Look, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. And based on their form this year, based on the unlikelihood of them losing that much, the Phoenix, I mean, the victory are the same. I mean, geez, I think they've lost fewer games, or at least the same number of games as the Phoenix.
I think it's 5 and 4. I'll just check that for you, but I'm pretty sure that they lost 5 in the end and the Phoenix lost 4. But it's so bloody, so close. It's so close.
They've actually got a coach, by the way, Tony Popovic, used to play for Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Good Australian player. He's actually had a pretty good run as an A-League coach, but he's never won it. He's been to a couple of grand finals, I think. He's finished top of the table. His teams have over.
Yeah, like I say, they lost 5, we lost 4. Okay, so it's very, much.
So, look, I mean, I've got this thing in my head of the fact that the Phoenix have never gone past this stage, have never even really got to the stage, at least in this current finals format. So I just by default find it hard to believe they'll get to the grand final. But they've been very good this year, and you've almost got to look at the facts of the season. They should win. I hope they win. I think it'll be a pretty close game, 1-0, 2-1.
Yeah, it's not.
The Phoenix this year, look at their results. They don't win by a lot.
No.
They don't win 2-0, 3-0, 4-0.
But they don't concede a lot of goals, and that's what's important about this game. Again, the only thing that's important is the result. Usyk versus Fury. We've got another Premier League thing to talk about these clubs all getting to vote on scrapping VAR and whether they will or they won't. Usyk versus Fury. You've had a bit of time to think about it. Who you got?
Oh, look, when it comes to heavyweight boxing, I'll always lean to, if it's a relatively even fight, I'll always lean towards the person who is taller and longer. I remember, obviously when Joseph Parker fought Anthony Joshua, the reach advantage, he just kept Parker at arm's length, Joshua.
Yeah, well, you saw with Lennox Lewis and David Tua, same thing.
David Tua, and I think it was a similar thing with Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce, because Joe Joyce stands at 6'6". They're just the size difference really plays a huge part. There's been many times in history when the smaller guy has won, most notably Joe Frazier when he beat Muhammad Ali.
Well, Tyson wasn't huge either, mate.
Well, no, Mike Tyson wasn't, but he had the most powerful punch probably in the sport, right?
You could knock them all out. That's the whole point of being a heavyweight champ.
We need one punch. Usyk's different. He doesn't, obviously being a weight going up to heavyweight, he doesn't have the same power, doesn't have the same size, but technically he's superb.
Everyone says that.
He's better than Fury technically. But Fury's got the size, he's got the reach, and not say Fury's not technically good as well. So just by the size, I don't know. I'd lean towards Fury, but at the same time, I've always, not always been a big fan. I can't say this. A good friend of mine loves his boxing. He's been a huge fan of Usyk. He's convinced me to really get into Usyk as well. So I'd like to see him win it. And I think based on his 2 wins over Joshua, where he just outboxed him, I would lean towards Usyk, but that's maybe wishful thinking. I really don't know. I actually really don't know.
I think he's going to get hit. I think that, and I go with GT, who's just texted in. He said, guys, he says most heavyweight fights fail to live up to the hype. I agree with that. He said, but this Fury-Usyk fight should deliver something special due to the fact that both guys are very smart fighters.
Yeah.
Fury's size and reach should be too much for Usyk in the end. And that's where I'm going. I just think it's a size and reach thing. And I think that Usyk is going to get hit when he comes in. He's never fought anyone like that. He's never fought anyone as big.
He fought Joshua.
Yeah, I know.
Joshua's the same size.
But this guy's such a different fighter. He's so weird and awkward, the way that he boxes. And he's also capable of knocking you out. I just think that in the end, is either fighter going to put the other one down? If it goes to 12 rounds, I think...
Well, if anyone puts anyone down, it'll be Fury putting Usyk down. Usyk needs to manoeuvre around him, use his mobility.
That's what he's got to do. Him over 12 rounds. Denver Nuggets, my Nuggets. Okay, no. you may have jumped the Timberwolves train, and you may have for a second thought that the young boys' time had come. They went to Denver.
When you say you, do you mean me specifically?
I think you specifically, obviously, because after the Lakers went...
Because you're the oracle of the NBA, aren't you? You know all. Martin knows all.
I just come to me, and I will tell you anything you need to know about the NBA. Yes, I doubted my Nikola Jokic and my Nuggets, and I may have switched momentarily to the T-Dubs, to Ant-Man and to Cat. But the last 3 games, it's not just yesterday, Lachlan, it's the last 3 games. And we spoke to Sean Keeler after game 4, and it was 2-2. And Denver went up there, and it's, what did whoever it was, the owner of the Houston Rockets in 95, say very famously, never underestimate the heart of a champion, when they went back-to-back and won 2 NBA titles, and that was with Hakeem, Olajuwon, and the Jet and so forth, and Clyde the Glide. Look, this team was down and out. They had lost game 2 in the second quarter, and then they go up in foreign territory against the Timberwolves, who I think they split the series 2-2 this year, and they dick them twice. And then they come back down to Denver yesterday, and they wallop them again. And Jokic's performance, Anthony Edwards said afterwards, I watched the press conference on ESPN, and he said afterwards, they asked him, how did you respond to that? He just said, I laughed. He said, I just laughed. He said, he's dropping these, those rainbow floaters he does, those little rainbow
off the glass, yeah.
And they interviewed Jokic afterwards, and they asked him about his 2 dunks, because he dunked twice. And just this absolute dead-faced guy, just talking about, he's hilarious as an interview, because I know that he's obviously extracting the Michael a lot. But if you had any doubt about who the best player in the league is, watch that game yesterday. No question?
No. Look at the stat line. Anyone who doubted it beforehand doesn't watch the NBA and understand how indefendable, not defendable this guy is. I mean, you've got supposedly the best defensive big man in the league, Rudy Gobert, who's just won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award, which only 2 or 3 other guys in NBA history have done. Jokic backing him down and mincing him up in the middle.
That's it. And we've got a text who just said that. Yeah, he bullied him to a point where, Yeah.
Like, this is a guy who can't be stopped. And there's a moment where he's dribbling the ball as if he's a guard and shooting just a fall-away three-pointer well over his head, like that one he hit against Anthony Davis last year in the playoffs.
That to me remains one of these shots I've ever seen in NBA basketball. Similar one last night.
The key thing is 40 points. He was he shot over 50%, had 13 assists. I don't know how many boards. I think he only had about 6 or 7 only. But he had no turnovers.
0.
That's the key. When you handle the ball as much as he does, when you pass the ball as much as he does, when the offense runs through him, which is such a strange thing to understand. You know, it happened with Draymond Green and Golden State when the offense started to run through him a little bit more, or as much as Steph Curry, and it's felt a bit weird. This is even weirder. This is a guy who stands at 7 foot, if not slightly shorter, maybe even slightly taller. But it just makes no sense.
No.
He is, without a doubt, the best player in the NBA right now. This Nuggets team are now on a roll. They're going to go win the title, I think. But you're now getting to a point where you're talking about him being as good, if not better, than the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson.
One of the final things we'll say about this is, and look, I love greatness, people, and this is what we're witnessing at the moment. We're witnessing this big, unlikely-looking, dare I say, unco-looking at times, huge, big, white European guy dominating a sport which black American men have dominated for decades. And it's just... and he's doing it in a way that he doesn't appear as athletic as he should be, but he's unerring with his accuracy, and he just never really does anything stupid or dumb on the court or make mistakes, right? And then they had this MVP thing, guys who'd been MVP 5 times, 4 times, and 3 times. And the list of names are basketball royalty. If you picked out the top 20 names in the NBA, those are them. And he's one of the guys that's won it 3 times on there. There is no disputing at all his greatness. I would say that. Well, in my time, and I've been watching the NBA since the early 90s, or that Detroit Pistons side. Actually, no, to be fair, probably since the Celtics-Lakers thing. I was always interested in that. But he would be one of the greatest players I've ever seen play the game.
Oh, same.
And I loved watching Michael Jordan. I loved watching Kobe. I loved watching Shaq. I loved watching all of these guys. I never saw Wilt really play. I never saw Dr. J really play. I never saw Bill Russell play. But, mate, this guy, Nikola Jokic, is an absolute basketball genius.
And the thing
is what he is. He's a genius.
Talk about him being uncle and whatnot. Just quickly, there's a really amusing element to it all, is that I think fans of the NBA, I think around the world, but particularly in the US, they gravitate towards, I'm not making it a race thing, but it's logical. It's the same with the NFL, I think. You gravitate towards the athletic, familiar-looking African-American guy. Like Anthony Edwards resembles Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
The human highlight reel, the Instagram guys who
the athleticism
rammer-jammer dunkers
of
and all
guys. Dwayne Wade was the same. They even had like simple names, easier to pronounce names. There's something that and they all have a little bit of cachet about them and how they carry themselves. People gravitate towards that. It's like Dan Carter, good-looking dude, easy to pronounce name. Plays the most skilled position in rugby. People gravitate towards that. Jokic is the anti of everything that's familiar.
Absolutely right. The Phoenix up against the Victory, Saturday, 6:30 in Wellington, and a bumper crowd, sellout crowd. This is as good as it gets for New Zealand football. Only a couple of times ever in the history of the game in this country has a club match sold out, and that was the Phoenix under Ricky Herbert when they got a game away from making the grand final. Tim Payne has been a stalwart in this side for a number of years. Experienced all white. Joined us on the program to preview what is going to be a very exciting, very nerve-wracking contest in the capital on Saturday night. Congratulations, A-League team of the season. Cock-a-doodle-doo, mate.
Was I? I didn't even know.
Yeah, well, there you go. You've just found out. Costa was on the bench and Coach of the Year was Chiefy.
Oh, brilliant. Obviously that's a nice little achievement, but all we care about is winning the whole thing. So we're looking forward to the weekend, and that's our main focus.
Tell you what, there's not a football fan in the country, mate, that just doesn't love you here and say that. So what, I'm in the bloody team of the year, mate. I just want to win against the Victory.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it means nothing at the end of the day if we don't come away with the championship. So that's the main goal. It's team sport. So, yeah, all the lads are buzzing for the weekend.
So it's not just about winning this game, it's winning it all. But first and foremost, how do you beat this team?
Yeah, look, Victory are a very well organised side. They've got a lot of experience. Their back four and goalkeeper have been very good all season. I think we're very confident that we're going to keep them to 0. It's just about being a little bit better with the ball and hurting them potentially in behind, stretch them a little bit. But yeah, just as a whole, being better with the ball, controlling the game with the ball a little bit more, and being patient, waiting for opportunities to hurt them.
Tim, do you feel any pressure? Because I know that the result last week was about the result. And so, it was up to them to try and attack you. So you can sit, deep behind the ball. You don't have to push too far forward. You can try and catch them on the break. Is there pressure this week being at home that you have to change that game plan and attack more?
Oh, I don't think so. These are the games that we want to be a part of. We've worked all season to be here. It's just about enjoying the moment. I think, as I said just earlier, it's to play football in front of a sold-out stadium, Sky Stadium, is what we play the sport for. So I think we're just all excited, and it's a chance for us to go out there and show what we can do. So, yeah, I think pressure, no, I don't think so.
Okay, breaking them down. I mean, this is going to be the 5th time that the two teams have met this year, and no team has scored more than one goal against each other in any of those games. So it's bloody tight, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. As I said, they're a very well organised side, so it is difficult to break them down. But in these big games, it's maybe a lapse of concentration or a bit of brilliance from one of our players, hopefully, that can unlock their defence.
Do you go into games like this, and how does the coach approach it? Does he go in looking at them, or does he more look at you and the way that you're going to play? Your team, not just you.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of both. I think you have to respect the opponent and know exactly what they're going to do. We've played them obviously now 4 times throughout the season, so I think we know each other pretty well. So I think more so it's worrying about how we're going to hurt them and trying to change up little things from last week that potentially can hurt them. So I think, it's if we perform to our potential, then we're going to come out on top.
There was one moment right at the beginning of the game, and you will remember it well. I think you got forward. There was a lovely interchange of passes. Costa there provided the pass, then the cross right across the goal, and it was right on the 6-yard box. It was right where you wanted to be, and one of their defenders got a foot to it. But that was you playing really far forward. Can we expect more of that from you this weekend?
Yeah, I think it would be probably pretty similar. I have a little bit of a license to get more forward in the formation that we play with the ball. So I've been enjoying that this season, and hopefully I can help out the team and setting up something or scoring a goal myself, which would be fantastic.
Well, I was just saying earlier in the intro, I said that a lot of people probably don't know, but when you're at Sacred Heart, that 3-2 comeback against St Kitts, you're actually a striker in those days, weren't you, mate?
Yeah, I played a little bit up there. I think it was just because I was fast.
Right.
So the coach put me up there, but I did play a little bit more higher at the field, and as I got a little bit older, I've worked my way back, and now settling at right back. So
this is going to be the first time since I think the Beckham game, but also those games under Ricky Herbert, also the Bahrain game, obviously with the All Whites. But a 30-something thousand plus crowd. You guys, it's coming. You can think about it, you can talk about it, but walking out that tunnel and hearing that noise and seeing that, how is that going to feel? Do you imagine?
Oh, bloody awesome. That's, as I said, it's why we play the sport. To play in front of a sold-out stadium is fantastic, and I hope, for some of the boys that probably never played in front of that many fans before, but hopefully they can all enjoy the occasion, enjoy the experience, because they can be our 12th man. They can really push us over the line, and it will be a fantastic atmosphere. We've got the best fans in the league, so they'll be making noise the whole time, and I'm just buzzing. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait.
In terms of the biggest games of your career, where does this one stack?
Yeah, it's up there, I'd say. Along with the Intercontinental playoff, pretty big games with lots on the line. So, it's right up there.
Simon Doull, cricket commentator extraordinaire, spends his whole life just travelling around the world calling cricket in London at the moment, going back to the IPL on the weekend. He can update us on that. But Dooley was at Tottenham-Manchester City yesterday. What was the atmosphere like? How were the Spurs fans? And just talk about that stadium, because everyone that I know that has gone to that stadium just raves about it in terms of it is just the greatest experience of all as a spectator to go to what used to be called White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Dooley, you were there for Spurs versus Man City, mate. How good?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm not sure I've had many better stadium experiences, Marty. I will say, first time I've been to Spurs Stadium, and it was just phenomenal. The ease of getting in, the ease of getting out, the stewards. I find the stewards here so pleasant. Things like that, the concessions. A pint of beer, which in London at the moment is costing you around £7 or £8 a pint of beer, was $6.50 at the game.
Nice.
Little things like that. And but yeah, just a magnificent stadium. Obviously, City were just sort of waiting for Spurs to fall over. Really, they had nothing up front. I don't think Spurs, and that one opportunity for Son, what was about 47th, 48th minute, that was a terrific save, and then City just went on a bit of a run from there. But they just didn't have much up front. Unfortunately, didn't have much answer for them, Spurs.
Talk to us about that stadium then. I understand it's got the biggest bar in the world. It's like one whole side of the ground, isn't it?
The one I went, well, there was 4 or 5, where we were in the lower level, 103 sort of aisle. I didn't see the huge bar, but everything near us was so simple, so easy. Service was great. You didn't have to queue for long at all. You can imagine a sort of 2022, 2023 version of Wellington, but with plenty of room to sit down instead of your knees being crammed into those horrible yellow seats. But the fact you can walk all the way around the certain levels, concession stands everywhere you go, patrons everywhere to look after you, to sort of advise you, tell you what where you need to be. There's one, Marty. There's one. Oh dear, that's 3-2 now, brother. Terrific left-footed strike from Hall. So you are a chance to concede 2 in extra time, I think.
Always possible. So the stewards are great, the service is great, and just in terms of the rest of the facilities, nice and clean, because we've both been to football grounds in the past, mate. We're essentially it's a cattle pen, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing I've sort of noticed, both with going to Anfield this summer, with going to Spurs last night. The stadiums are so well catered for. They're really well looked after. They are clean. There's just hardly a thing out of place, and I think that's one of the things New Zealand could certainly. I mean, we all know that Auckland needs the stadium. It needs a multi-purpose 65,000 seat stadium. And what they've done at Spurs is just absolutely phenomenal. I was blown away. I really was. It's such a magnificent venue.
Simon Doull with this. All right. So the couple of weeks off in London ends on the weekend, and back to the IPL you go, mate. So where are we at?
Yeah, it's looking interesting for some, I guess, when you look at the table. KKR have qualified. Rajasthan Royals have qualified both with a game to go. And then you got Chennai, Sunrisers, Delhi Capitals all on 14 points. LSG and Bangalore on 12 points. LSG are out of it. Their net run rate's really poor. And we've got RCB and the Chennai Super Kings to come. That's Saturday this week. So that'll be a huge one. If Bangalore can win that by, I think the calculations say something like 25 to 30 runs, they can actually go past Chennai's net run rate, which would put them into the top 4. So, big one, still plenty to play for, even come Saturday. Possibly not so much Sunday. We should know who the top 4 are before Sunday. But, I think in KKR and Rajasthan, you've got the 2 best sides in the comp comfortably. And I think Sunrisers will definitely make it through as well. So probably the 3 most attractive sides to watch will make it through, along with either Chennai or Bangalore. And if I was picking one of those 2, you'd say that Bangalore are more attractive to watch at the moment. Chennai have been business-like, workman-like, without being special. And I think if it was to be Bangalore, Kolkata, Rajasthan, and Sunrisers Hyderabad, I think it'd be an enormous sort of playoffs. It'd be really good for the tournament.
Time for your favourite game, Lachlan.
We need to talk.
You know what it's called?
We need to talk.
It is called What is More Chance of Happening. I'm going to present 2 scenarios to you, and you can tell me out of the 2, what is more chance of happening?
Next!
The Melbourne Victory beat the Phoenix on Saturday night, and they go to the A-League final. Or the Premier League, after all the clubs decide and debate this, decide to ditch
I'd be surprised if they got rid of it so quickly.
They're not going to get rid of it, mate. No. They'll never get rid of it, because that's a whole administration admitting they're wrong. I mean, look at the kerfuffle after the mouth guards in the first round of Super Rugby. Nobody was prepared to say, oops, we got that wrong, or they're not working properly. Didn't they blame Wi-Fi at the Waikato Stadium? That was what was to blame, wasn't it? It was the Bluetooth. It was Bluetooth, yep. Right? I mean, God, when Bluetooth, the 80s want their technology back. Who even Bluetooth these days? Is it still around?
Well, it's on your phone, mate. It's how you connect to things with your phone a lot of the time.
I don't. I go through the interweb.
No, your Bluetooth is always switched on.
No, it's not.
No, it is.
I switch it off, mate, because if it's on, it drains your bloody battery. I don't have Bluetooth.
Oh, do you actually have yours switched off?
Yes.
Well, I use it for AirPods.
Oh, shit, it's on.
See,
I'm going to turn the bastard off.
I use it for
Why do I don't need it, mate?
AirPods. I use it for my watch. I use it for my Apple TV because I can link my phone to my Apple TV through Bluetooth.
Well, okay.
I think, or is it might just be Wi-Fi.
It is so rare, and it never happens that administration will actually turn around and admit they got.
It would take new people taking over. And so that would mean that who's the boss of the Referees Association? Howard Webb, is that his name? It would take him probably resigning or dying, and then someone else taking over and going, "Oh, cool, I don't want this. I don't want this now."
So what is more chance of happening?
The Victory one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes!
What is more chance of happening then? That the Melbourne Victory do beat the Phoenix, or Tiger?
No, don't say it. It's disrespectful to suggest it.
That he wins the PGA.
He's not winning. He's not winning anything for the rest of his life.
That Tiger makes the cut.
He's done. Okay, that's different. So what was the first one again?
Melbourne Victory beat the Phoenix.
Or Tiger makes the cut?
Yeah.
I'll say Tiger makes the cut, actually.
You don't give the Victory that much chance?
I give them a chance.
Look, if this was the Victory that was the Victory side halfway through the season, I'd be worried. But this isn't that team. The first half of the season, I think they went, 12, 14, 15 games unbeaten.
The Phoenix and them.
Who
were the two teams at the top.
They were the team at the top that just hadn't lost a game, but they'd drawn a whole heap of games. The second half of the season, they lose 5 games. And after watching on Saturday night, was it last Sunday? Sunday night, wasn't it? Sunday afternoon.
Sunday evening, yeah.
I just didn't think that they had anything to really win with.
The Victory.
Yeah, they huffed and puffed a lot.
They huffed and puffed, but the Phoenix just sat back and did nothing.
But they had 19 strikes towards the goal.
They had 20.
Okay, but how many of them were really threatening? It wasn't like, watching Liverpool pound a goal or watching Man City pound a goal, was it?
This is a great discussion point, because what does that then tell you about, because it's not just the Victory who do that, it's every team in the A-League. What does it tell you about the standard of play in the A-League?
Well, it's not a great standard in terms of World Football Leagues. And we've got to be honest about that. I'm not watching this game to see a high level of football. I'm not watching it to see a Champions League final. I'm watching it because the only reason I'm interested is because if the Phoenix weren't playing this game, I wouldn't be watching.
No, I wouldn't give a
If this was the Melbourne Victory against Sydney City or any other team, I wouldn't be watching. The A-League doesn't do that to me. The only reason I watch anything to do with the A-League is because of the Phoenix.
Next!
How many people feel like that? And that's okay to feel like that. It's just that there's so much sport around. You can't watch everything. I'm not Jason. I don't get paid to commentate on the Phoenix, so I'm not watching it every game, right?
Yeah.
What is more chance of happening? Tiger makes the cut at the PGA, or the Nuggets go on to defend their title and go back-to-back in the NBA?
All right. So not the Thunder. You said the Nuggets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The Nuggets probably will beat Minnesota. They've got to win Game 6 on the road to win the series now, or they can.
I think it goes to 7.
No, I think it goes to 6. I think Minnesota have lost this.
See, you always talk about, okay, it's a one-off thing. Tiger has to just produce 2 good rounds, as opposed to the Nuggets have got to win this series, then another series, then win.
You're using my logic against me.
Yeah.
Damn it. I was going to say the Nuggets. But the Nuggets are better than anyone else in the NBA, I think.
If they're healthy.
Well, they are pretty healthy. Jamal Murray's carrying something, but he's been all right the last few games.
Carrying an ego? Carrying a bad temper?
No, I don't.
He shouldn't have played that Game 5, sorry. He should have been suspended for at least one game for throwing that thing on the court.
Yeah, that happened in Game 2, though, so he should have been suspended Game 3.
Game 3, okay. And they won Game 3, and they wouldn't have won it without him.
No.
It's like when LeBron and the Cavs won it when Draymond got banned in Game 5, was it?
Oh,
in 2016?
He got banned in Game 4 in 2016 and then missed Game 5. Cleveland then won Game 5 on the road where LeBron and Kyrie both dropped 41.
41, okay, there you go.
I'd leaned, but Tiger making the cut, he's got a good chance. No. He's got a bit of a chance. I think
more chance.
Look, I actually think there's more chance the Nuggets win the championship.
Yeah.
I don't rate Boston.
What is more chance of happening? The Nuggets go back-to-back and win the NBA, or Man United upset Man City in the FA Cup final in 2 weeks? Hey, Wigan did it, remember? A decade ago.
Cool.
The FA Cup final has had upset.
I tell you what.
That's all I've got to cling on.
No, Wigan won the League Cup final.
No, FA Cup final.
Didn't they beat Arsenal in the League Cup final?
They won the FA Cup final against Man City.
What year was that, 2012?
Yeah, old Ginge got a goal.
It was a year where Birmingham won something.
And they got relegated that year. Birmingham won the League Cup against Tottenham.
No.
Against Arsenal.
But your team's probably worse than that Wigan team.
Oh, we're a terrible team.
You're an awful team.
We are an awful team.
And you're a team, I think. Do you see what Graham Souness said on TalkSport the other day?
I don't care what he says.
He said, why not?
Because
you
he's
like
a
Souness.
no, I don't like. I hated him as a player. I hate him as a pundit.
You can admire him. You admire him as a player. The
yes.
same way that I admire Keane
Right,
as a player.
same. I don't mean I don't like the guy.
Apparently he's been hearing rumblings that these Man United players who are injured but not playing, they're not injured. They don't want to play.
Yeah,
they're
Martial.
refusing to play.
Yeah.
Well, not just him. I think some other guys in defence who are supposedly meant to be playing.
Varane doesn't like hitting the ball anymore. He's left.
I think Maguire might be the other one as well.
Oh, good. You know, it doesn't.
They don't want to play for the club anymore.
Good. In that case, they
anyway,
should.
Point is that your
Oh,
players.
Here's the door.
Your
Use it.
players are a bag of. Is this offensive to Barbie? No. Your players are a bag of Barbie dolls. They are useless.
Well, what
they
is
are
more
plastic.
chance of happening then?
They are appalling. What was the first one again?
Nuggets go back to back.
More chance Nuggets go back to back. So enamoured in my rage of Manchester United. You guys are an awful club.
That's our podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to the entire show, 1 till 4, Monday to Friday, download the Platform app, and via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to whatever shows over however many weeks at your leisure, at your listening pleasure. Platform Plus. First thing to do, though, is download the Platform app.
Devlin. The Platform.